God. So there's another layer of the wasteland. Then later, when I'm confronting what I feel is the terrible disenchantment of the world and the effects of like bad philosophy of the 17 minutes, essentially split between the spiritual and the material and Cartesian dualism, I'm realizing there's another kind of wasteland which also needs to be healed. But when I began to think I want to write this as an epic, it was only then that I realized that I read all the scholarship that said, oh, all the king and the dying king and the wounded king and the land is wasted and so on. This is pre-Christian, what they call fertility rituals and medicine,
Not to be trusted.
But, all this stuff. And well, I mean, first of all, you've got to be careful with the word pre-Christian if you're a fully Trinitarian Christian, because in the beginning was the Word and all things were made through him. There is the undergirding presence of the Logos everywhere before he does this incredibly gracious thing and makes himself known to us, in Jesus. But when I thought about this, I realized all these stories, I'm sure there is a pre-Christian element, but the point is, the Arthur stories bring it to Christ. This isn't some random Celtic cauldron of generation or, the spear of Bran. Now, is that illegitimate? Did they take some pagan thing and give it just a Christian gloss? I don't think so. So when I was looking back at, obviously if you're going to write an English epic, you kind of have to get it okay with Milton,
Mm-hmm.
So, you think Paradise Lost, right? Plot spoiler, but, it's a 12-book epic on 2 short chapters in Genesis. He doesn't even get to the moment where Eve reaches the fruit till book 9. But when he describes this colossal cosmic turning point, this moment about fall, so saying in evil hour, Eve's hand, with rash hand she reached, he doesn't say, so this particular individual woman did a private peccadillo and be fine with therapy. The first thing that Milton says at the moment when humankind falls is this. He says, earth felt the wind, and nature, sighing out through all her works, gave sign that all was lost. And he's riffing on the line in Genesis, cursed shall be the ground because of you. I thought, wait a minute, this wasteland story, Adam and Eve are the king and queen, and there's we are a royal priesthood. These stories about kings are always a story about you. And every man is the Adam of his own soul. Mm-hmm. So this story of how when we go wrong, the world goes wrong with us. And then, as you trace it out, you think, it's all in Romans. I mean, the whole creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the children of God. And again, nature was false. Creation was subjected to futility, but in hope. And in the coming of Christ and in the resurrection and in our being made new is the beginning of a new creation. So this story, whether it was pagan in so-called pagan origin or not, of the unhealable wound, the fall, the wasteland, and the recovery, and the turning of the recovery being through the blood of Jesus Christ in sacrament. That's what the Grail is, and that the blood that falls into the thigh of the wounded king that heals him and then heals the land. It's the blood of Christ. It's not, So what I feel is going on there, and I think the Arthurian stories just do this beautifully, is it's kind of baptizing the imagination of our pre-Christian ancestors. It's taking some of their deepest stories and showing that the thing that really makes sense of those stories is the coming of Christ. It's a bit like Paul, in Athens, where he says, men of Athens, I see you're religious and orthodox. As I observed the objects of your worship, I saw this statue to an unknown God. Him whom you worship as unknown, him I preach, and so there's just layer on layer.
Beautiful.
But it's not just like a flat Disney cartoon or a kind of Hollywood blockbuster where people are just knocking each other off horses for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I like seeing people knock each other off horses.
Don't get me wrong. I want to get back to that, but before we do, let's talk about tobacco. All right. Everybody wants to know, what is your favorite tobacco?
Okay, so I've got 2 if I'm allowed to, because it depends where I am.
Have as many as you wish.
If I'm upstairs in my study in the house, it needs to be an aromatic. My wife will tolerate an aromatic.
Exactly the same as my wife.
So I tend to, there's an English one, there's one called Kendall Black Cherry.
That sounds lovely.
So this is not the one I brought from home, It's one I got that's pretty similar here. This, amazingly, is called Grand Mariner, I bought it in Alexandria in Virginia.
But okay, sorry, the black cherry one. What's it called?
It's called Kendall Black Cherry.
Kendall Black Cherry, right?
And so it's the one I smoke indoors. But I smoke Peterson pipes, and I love some of their tobacco blends. So there's a flake tobacco like that, but except instead of being in little long flakes, it's in little tiny coins.
Yeah. Why?
And
Is there any
so originally, when they made
benefit
that
to that,
tobacco, the tobacco is called Deluxe Navy Rolls.
Yeah.
Right? It just smells like baking bread, actually.
Yeah.
So Peterson. So what they did was when the British Navy was a thing, and well, it still is a thing, but when they were sailing out for months, and you got your tot of rum.
Yeah.
But you also had got tobacco, and they compressed the tobacco into long tubes, like thin rolls. Literally.
Yeah.
And then they would slice off those, and they become coins. So that's still done. It's still pressed that way, and you buy the tin, and it's got these like round coins or lozenges of tobacco, and you just like a couple of those you break up in your hands and you fill your pipe.
All right.
But I only
so that's the aromatic.
The aromatic is the Kendall Black Cherry.
Yeah.
So
But the one
the Deluxe Navy Rolls is more full on.
Is that the brand? Is that what it's?
Yeah.
Okay.
That means Peterson who make it. But so it used to be Dunhill, and then they went.
Do you prefer an English blend to an aromatic?
Yeah, I actually like I like the aromatic, but if I want a real pipe, a real strong bowlful that's going to wake me up and accompany me in my writing.
Yeah.
The kind of thing where, like C.S. Lewis in his preface to St. Athanasius on the Incarnation. It's a great work, but great preface. He talks about the unexpected joy that comes in reading hard theology, just getting your mind there.
Yep.
And he says, when you're going through a bit of tough theology with a pipe clenched beneath your teeth and a pencil in your hand, and suddenly the Spirit sings as you're doing it. So I need stronger tobacco for that. But I smoke that down in my hut, my writing hut at the bottom of the garden, which is called it's called the Temple of Peace. More in hope than expectation. But and I have some other more robust blends that they've got Latakia and Perique, and so the Cavendishes and the Virginias are the milder end.
Okay.
And then you can get these, much stronger flavour. You don't want too much. You make your own mixture, your kind of mélange, as the French call it. And
may I borrow your lighter?
Yeah. It's.
And then why?
I have some really nice old lighters, but I never travel with them because you can randomly have your lighters taken off you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to lose a good one, so I travel with them. I need to do mine again. But this lighting and relighting is a whole part of the experience. Tolkien apparently was always constantly relighting his pipes, thinking in between.
Yeah, for some reason when I smoke the church warden, I find I have to relight it less, and I don't know why that is.
Anyway, so this, I got this really nice temper while I was here. It's like
beautiful
horn and wood. So I sometimes name pipes and tempers, and this one's called Storm Crab. And the reason why is I've just seen the prelude, the forward to the next volume, which Martin Shaw, my friend, has written. And I first met with Martin on the wings of a massive storm that was sweeping through, and it blew out all the lights, and we had like 3 days in his cottage by candlelight, with nothing but single malt and fairy.
Yes.
Anyway, so in the preface he says that because of that, he and his friends all call me Storm Cray.
May is the month we honour the Blessed Virgin Mary, and what better way to draw close to her Son than through prayer? If you're like most people, sometimes you need a little help making that happen. That's where our sponsor Hallow has seriously changed the game. Whether you've got 5 minutes on the commute or a quiet hour in the evening, Hallow helps you slow down and really pray with guided rosaries, reflections, and meditations from folks who actually make prayer feel accessible, not complicated. I've used Hallow for years now. We use it sometimes to listen to the Holy Rosary, or I'll play some sleep stories, Bible sleep stories for the kids at night who really enjoy it. This month on Hallow, you can join thousands around the world praying the Marian consecration with daily reflections and beautiful audio guided by voices you'll know and love. So if you've been meaning to reconnect with God, don't wait. Download Hallow right now. It's free to start, and honestly, I've had people say to me that it's one of the best tools they've encountered that help them stay consistently on a prayer routine. So visit hallow.com/mattfrad to get 3 months free. Let's make this May a month of grace, peace, and genuine prayer. Again, that's hallow.com/mattfrad for 3 months free. Brothers, summer's fast approaching, a season we all need for rest and a bit of breathing room. But if we're honest, it's also a time when faith can quietly take the back seat. That's why I'm really excited about what Exodus 90 is doing with the Kings of Summer Challenge. It's a beautiful invitation for men to slow down, pray, and reflect on Christ's kingship over our lives and the astonishing truth that through baptism, we actually share in that kingship ourselves. This year's theme is the return of the king, led by one of my favorite people in the whole world, Joseph Pierce. If you've ever heard Joseph speak or read his work, you know how deeply he ties Tolkien's universe to the heart of our faith. I've had him on the show